YouTube, it's your boy, Sean Mitry, here with another Master Duel video. Sky Strikers, we got our third Platinum one of the season. I'm going to show you the list. And I'm going to describe to you how Sky Striker works. So Sky Striker is a very, very big brain control deck. It takes a lot of brain power to operate this deck. It seems very simple on the surface, but it gets a lot more complicated. We're going to go over the list, and we're going to go over exactly how we got up there. Alright, so we're going to start out. The main monster that you need to be focused on is Sky Striker Ace Ray. So how Ray works is, Ray, when you summon Ray, you can link into any of your link ones with Ray or Rose. Also with Hornet drones, but so Ray can link it to any of your link ones. The ones you're generally going into are Shizuku, Hayate. You don't really summon this turn 1 or 2. You summon this as a defensive card. And Zeke, but this takes 2. This is a link 2. And Kagari. Now, the Ray, you're going to do this is you're generally going to summon Ray and just link it off. So, the way you want to play this deck is you always want to go second. Going second is the way of the Sky Striker. You always want to go second with this deck. Always. Because going second allows you to maximize the use of your hand traps and gain you the maximum amount of advantage, as well as pick up the extra card. Okay? So, your standard play would be summon Ray. If they have no monsters on the field, you could swing with Ray first, but you would summon Ray. Then you would link off with Hayate. Hayate, we're going to go over all their effects in a bit. Then you attack with Hayate. Then you may get a card back with Kagari after you send the card with Hayate, and then Shizuku will add. But we're going to go over what the links do in a second. But the other effect of Ray is once per turn, you can quick effect tribute her to special summon a Sky Striker out of your extra deck. Now, this is not a link summon, so keep that in mind. But this is a special summon. So, you can, let's say they interrupt your Ray for whatever reason, right? They try to get rid of Ray. You can quick effect chain her out and then summon it. Your link monster. Also, Ray has another effect. Whenever your link is removed from the field, you can resummon Ray, so she's like Monster Reborn. She comes back on her field whenever a link is removed, so it gives us extra protection and the ability to link summon other monsters because not link summon, special summon other links because we can quick effect tag her out. The catch with Ray, though, is Ray can only summon in her main monster zone. So you always want a Ray live, not her main monster zone, in her extra monster zone, okay? So, you always want to Ray live in the graveyard if you can. It's good to have multiple Rays just in case they DD Crow you or they decide to call by the graveyard so you're not out of Rays. Your next Sky Striker Ace is Rose. Rose is not as good as Ray, but it's still a name, and it can have another effect that can become relevant depending on how big brain you can be and how situational these come up. So, if a Sky Striker Ace is normal summon, so if you summon a Ray, or normal or special, so you could summon a Ray, or a special any links, you can special summon Rose, except during the damage step. Also, if an opponent's monster is left their extra monster zone, so if you clear one of their links in their extra monster zone, you can also special summon Rose from your graveyard. And then you can negate the effects of a face-up monster your opponent controls, so they can negate the effect, the continuous effect, or something. So that's something that you need to understand until the end of the turn. And you can only use each effect of Rose once per turn. So again, Rose, like Ray, can quick effect, not quick effect. Like Ray, can just link off into any of your link ones. And these link ones can only be made with your Sky Striker monsters, your Sky Striker Aces. You can't make it with Veil, you can't make it with Maxi, only with your Sky Striker Aces. They require one Sky Striker Ace monster. Now, we're going to go over each of the individual spells before we go over the link monsters, okay? So, The spells are 2 Sky Striker, Mobilize, Engage. This is your best spell. You need to be playing 2 of this. Okay, I play 3 of this if it were legal, but you want to play 2. Okay, now the way the spells work is that you can only activate your Sky Striker spells if you control no monsters in the main monster zone. So you have your board laid out, right? And then you have all your 5 monster slots. Those are your main monsters. And then you have your extra monster zone. So if your monster's in your extra monster zone, you can, is the only time you can use your spells. Okay? So you can't have any monsters in the main monster zone. So keep that in mind. So, engage. What engage simply does is... Oh, and one other thing. Each of your Sky Striker spells gain an additional effect for if you have 3 or more spells in the grave. So if you have 3 or more spells in the grave, they'll gain an additional effect. So with that being said, let's go with the spells. So Engage allows you to add any Sky Striker card from your deck to your hand. Again, if you control no main monsters. Monsters in your main monster zone. And then if you have 3 or more spells, draw a card. So this is really good, obviously. If you get 3 or more spells, they can be any spell. They don't have to be Sky Striker spells. They could be Upstart, they could be Duster, they could be Rhoda, Avarice, Twin Twister, whatever. So if you have 3 or more spells, draw an extra card, as well as getting a search. So that really can plus up quick. And this is not a hard once per turn. You can use this as many times as you can activate it. So very good. Engage, definitely a 3F. Searches Ray, searches basically any Sky Striker card in the deck. Now, Afterburn is a good 1-up in this deck. If we control no monsters in our main monster zone, we get to target a monster and destroy it. It's searchable in so many ways. Searchable monster removal. Also, if we have 3 or more spells in our graveyard, we can destroy a spell or trap on the field. So this is a good out to skill drain. Okay? And it's searchable. So, you want to play it. Next is Hercules base. This card is very good for the simple reason it's a searchable way to recycle Kigari. So you search this off, and then its main effect that you use, I never really use this first effect too much, but the effect on field is if you control no main monsters in the main monster zone, you can target a monster, Sky Striker, and it can attack twice, and if it destroys a monster in battle, you can draw a card. That never really came up. But it also has the effect of that monster can't attack directly, so technically you can equip this on your opponent's monsters, and then they can't attack you directly, so it could be a way to stall, but it really doesn't come up. The second effect is what you're using this for. If it's sent to the graveyard, you can target up to 3 Sky Striker cards in your graveyard and add them to your hand. And again, the ability to draw a card when you destroy a monster in battle can only be applied when you have 3 or more spells in your grave anyway. So that's really not going to come up. But the second effect, to add back 3 Sky Striker cards from your graveyard if it's sent there into your deck, does come up. And I'm going to give you a few ways it does come up. One way this comes up is, let's say you have Kigari, because it's at 1. So you want to put Kigari back in the deck, right? Or any of your links. But another way it might come up is that if you want to reset Engage in a way, right? So let's say you have an Engage in your graveyard, but you do not want to set it off multi-roll because you don't want to get banished. You want it for like a rind. I know this seems very complicated, but there are some situations you want to do this. Then you could put Engage back in the deck, and then since you have no Engage in the grave, you'll be able to search it off Suzuku. We're going to go over the links soon, so you'll have a better understanding of what I mean. Next is Airspace, Area 0. And an optimal way, I'd play 2 of this in a Terraforming just so we can get an extra spell in the grave. So what Area 0 does is you can target 1 card you control, other card you control, not itself. Excavate the top 3 cards of your deck to the grave. Not to the grave, just excavate the top 3. And if you do, add one of the excavated Sky Striker cards to your hand. So you can kind of play slots, target a card in the field, and send it to the grave if you get a Sky Striker card, and potentially 1-for-1 yourself. Well, actually, it's kind of a -1 because you have to activate this and then send. So it kind of goes -1, but it does get you to your play starters, which might plus you in the end. So it in a long game, it might give you it will plus you, if that makes sense. But the main effect that you're running this for is the second effect. But the first, you're also running it for the first effect, because I'm going to talk about Ray as the second, is that if this targeted card is left the field zone, then you could special summon a Sky Striker Ace monster from your deck. So, we're going to talk about multi-roll in a second, but you could also Twin Twister off your Area 0 and then get its effect to be able to summon an Ace out of the deck. You'll also be able to send it off with a card called Zeke and Ray. We're going to talk about that in a second. One of the things I didn't get too in depth with Ray. Okay, because Ray can quick effect to tag out and special summon, you can activate your Area 0. Area 0 will target Ray. However, for the first effect, so you Area 0 target Ray for the first effect to, reveal the top 3, and if you get a Sky Striker card, add it to your hand. But then you quick effect Chain Ray. Remember we talked about Ray being able to quick effect and special summon a Link? Yeah. So you're going to quick effect Chain Ray, special summon a Link to the extra monster zone. Then, because you did that, you can then reveal 3, and then add a card that was there to your hand. So that could potentially plus you. Okay? Well, not plus you, but make you break even. And that will plus you in the long run. It's not immediate, but in the long run. But that's a very good play that you need to know about. It's also going to come up with multi-roll. We're going to talk about that in a second. So the next card that we want to talk about is Sky Striker Mecha Module Multi-Roll. So once per turn, you can target one other card you control, send that card to the graveyard. Your opponent cannot activate cards and effects in response to your spell card activations for the rest of the turn. So, if you send, the basic thing you want to do with this is activate multi-roll to send Area 0 to the graveyard, which will allow you to summon Ray out of the deck. Remember, if this is sent for the field zone to the grave, you could summon a Sky Striker Ace out of your deck, so you could summon Ray or Rose. Okay? Also, your opponent will not be able to respond to any of your spell negations, activations for the rest of the turn. No matter what card you could send. You could send any card. Even your opponent's monsters that you steal, which we're going to go over in a second. But being able to use this effectively is really, really good. It procs that, but we're not even up to the broken effect yet. This is the broken effect coming up. And also, the one thing I also want to bring up is this is a lingering effect. The first effect is lingering. So what does that mean? That means if they get rid of this after the card resolves, they still won't be able to respond back to your spell activations. So if they decide to remove this off the field after the card is fully resolved on the field, the effect will linger and they will not be able to respond to any of your spell activations. So keep that in mind. Make sure you chain it in response to the activation of the effect, because a continuous spell will not resolve on field if it's removed before the effect can resolve. So the second effect is really good. Once per turn during the end phase, you can set Sky Striker spells with different names from the graveyard up to the number of Sky Striker spells you activate this turn. So if you've ever played in 2013 during Spellbook of Judgment format, this should come up familiar to you. Spellbook of Judgment has a similar effect. So when you activate different Sky Striker spells, you are gonna in the end phase be able to reset them onto the field and get their effects twice. That's insane. That pluses you high, heavily. Okay, this can go plus 2 or 3 or even sometimes 4. The only catch is they get banished when they leave the field. So make sure you use them wisely. That's why I said sometimes you will want to put Engage back in the deck with Hercules base, because you may want multiple engages for the long run. But needless to say, this card is insanely good, and this card wins you a lot of games. Okay, next is Sky Striker Mecha Hornet Drones. So Hornet Drones is basically, I found this card to be good for lethal plays. It's not amazing, but it's good for lethal plays. I can see why it's at 1 though, because it does limit the amount of starters you have. It's another starter in the deck as well, because you can go to High Octane and dump Ray. We'll talk about that. But it's a good card in general, just to help get lethal, help you make Axis Go Talker in the deck as well in some points. So what it does is, if you control no monsters in the main monster zone, special summon a Sky Strike Ace or token in defense, which cannot be attributed. While you have 3 spells in the grave, you can summon it as a token, but it becomes 1500, 1500. Again, its stats doesn't matter. It goes in defense. You're linking it off anyway. The stats it gives really never came up for me at all. So, just so that summons a token that you can link off into any of your Link 1s or Link 2 Sky Strikers because it's the Sky Striker Ace. Now, Sky Striker Mecha Widow Anchor. This is the most broken card in the deck. For good reason. Widow Anchor, well, next to Multi-Roll and Engage, I should say. But this is right up there. Widow Anchor is the #1 spell you're going to run in this deck. And it has 2 effects. One when there's no monsters in the main monster, and one if you have 3 more spells in your grave. If you control no monsters in the main monster zone, this becomes a Forbidden Chalice, essentially targeting one effect monster on the field, negating its effects until the end of the turn. However, when you get 3 or more spells in the grave, that's where this card becomes ridiculous. If you have 3 or more spells in the graveyard, you can steal that monster. Yes, you can target their monster and steal it. Okay? Take control of it, which is absolutely insane. Because it's a snatch, steal, brain control-like effect that can be searched throughout the entire deck and recycled so easily that you could really take manipulation of this. And it's a quick play, so you can use it on your turn or your opponent's turn, making it very, very versatile in how you can abuse different effects and different things that not effects, but abuse different stealing techniques and being able to negate on your turn as well as in your opponent's, and then being able to take their monster and make link plays with it, as well as being able to sack it off with cards like Multi-Roll and Airspace. So again, going back to Airspace and Multi-Roll, Airspace can target any card on the field, including the monsters you steal by your opponent. Multi-Roll can also send off any card in the field to make it not being able to respond to your spells. Which, again, you could send off your opponent's monsters. So keep this in mind. You're not always supposed to link off. You could do that, steal it, and then just send their cards off, which is very good. But needless to say, this is a definite 2-off. You need 2 of this. No exceptions. Next is Sky Striker Mecha Shark Cannon. This is very good as a 1 or a 2 of. I like this as a 1 of because I feel like we run enough DD Crow Interruption that we really don't need 2 of this. And it can brick. So Shark Cannon is a very good at 1. And it's also very good. We're going to talk about Shizuku and why this card really combos off with Multi-Roll and Shizuku really well. If you control no monsters in your main monster zone, target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish that monster. So immediately, this is a DD Crow without even needing 3 spells in the grave. It's searchable. It's very good against a deck like Drytron, which wants to get their monsters in the graveyard. So again, if they activate their Zeta or Gamma and they tribute off their Benten, you can chain this and then banish it. It's also good against Eldritch to banish their Eldritch Lord out of their graveyard, or if they're on the Zombie World variant, then you can banish their Balderrock. So that's actually good. It's not that relevant in Tri-Brigade unless you really want to take a monster out of the graveyard special summon, which I guess you can. The second effect is more relevant in Tri-Brigade, but yeah, this is very relevant as a 1-up against like Drytron and some Eldritch and can win games in those matchups. It's also good against Virtual World because you can banish their Shen Shen as well, so that's good as well. So that's something you want to keep in mind for matchups. And if you have 3 or more spell cards in your graveyard, you can special summon it. So that could be good against like Tri-Brigade if you want to summon their monster and then make link plays with it. So you can summon like their big links, like because they're gonna most of the time summon out Rugal or their Link 4. Their Link 4 Tri-Brigade. If I can think of the name of it. So their Link 4 Sharik. So we can like summon out Rugal from their graveyard and then be able to, being a Link 3, just summon any level 1, any monster regardless, and just make access code Talker off that. So that's the second effect, was what you really want to use against the deck like Tri-Brigade. Next is, that's all the Sky Striker spells. So that's all the spells that we run. You could run a card called Jamming Waves, which I'll go over in about a second, right here. I didn't play it because I think it's kind of situational, but it's still a card you can run. So what Jamming Waves does is you control no monsters in your main monster zone, you target a set card, spell a trap on the field, destroy it. Then if you have 3 or more spells, you can destroy a monster on the field. This is very good in the mirror match, but not really good. It's random otherwise, because a lot of they can chain the back row, and since you're not chaining the back row, and then since the first effect didn't go through, you won't be able to destroy their monster in that case. So I don't think it's that great, but you could run one of it if you wanted to. I think it's kind of highly situational, though. Alright, on to the links. The links are very important, alright? There are 5 Sky Striker Ace links, and you need to understand all of them. The first one is Hayate, okay? So, the one thing you need to know about the links is that you can only special summon each attribute of the links. You can only special summon each link once per turn. Okay, so once you've gone into your one link, you can't go into the other. Okay, you can't go into the same link again. Not the other. You can't go into the same link again. Okay, so Hayate, the first one we're going to talk about is Hayate. So Hayate has an effect that it can attack directly. So being able to attack directly is very important. It's a good way to get past your opponent's defenses to trigger its effect. After damage calculation, if disbattled, you could send 1 Sky Striker card from your deck to your grave. Most of the time, you're not dumping engage unless you have the God Hand to be able to resolve like 2 or 3 engages in one turn. Most of the time, you're dumping a Widow Anchor to get off multi-roll. You could dump another area space if you want to deck then. You could also dump out a multi-roll if you want to get that set up. That does come up. You might dump a Ray. A Ray, if you don't open Ray, to get Ray in your graveyard is very good. But yeah, Hayate is very useful. Like if you start off with like Rosé or Hornet Drones, then you want to dump Ray. Because you want that grind game set up immediately. Okay? So that's something you want to keep in mind with. So that's Hayate. Second one, the most broken link in the deck, Kagari. Alright? My newest emote on Twitch. If this card is special summon, you can target a Sky Striker spell in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So that's very, very good. You add back Engage most of the time. You can add back Widow Anchor. You can add back Multi-Roll. You can make any card you dump off of Hayate that we talked about, any spell. And it gains 100 attack for each spell in the grave. That's sometimes relevant if you need to swing over some, but most of the time, this card is to add back all your spells, and being a Link 1, with that much ease of access, is very good. Next, Kana. So this card is okay. It's not that great, but it's still good for a grindy matchup. It comes up. If this card is special summon, you target one face-up monster your opponent controls, cannot attack until the end of your opponent's turn. Each time you activate a Sky Striker spell or its effect, gain 100 life points immediately. So, not that great, but it's okay. It does help when your opponent makes a massive field, and then you can kind of wall them off a bit. So it's okay. Next is Sky Striker Ace Shizuku. Shizuku is very, very powerful. Okay, it's a searcher. It is your second best Sky Striker link. Some may consider it the best. It is insanely good, and I wouldn't blame you if you did. It takes a Sky Striker Ace, monsters your opponent controls, lose 100 attack and defense for each spell in your grave. That's not the relevant part, although that does come up a bit. Once per turn during the game phase, if this was special summon this turn, you can add 1 Sky Striker spell from your deck to your hand with a different name than any of the Sky Strikers, different name than any of your cards in your graveyard. So, commonly, you end on Shizuku to add Engage. So that gets you engaged, and obviously after that, you can start really gaining up that advantage. So, end phase, you're generally searching Engage with this. But another play you could do, and this is what I wanted to bring up, is if you have either Widow Anchor or Shark, you could search Shark Cannon in the end phase, and then Shark Cannon is a quick play. So you can banish an opponent's monster, and from their graveyard. And if you have multi-roll on the field, since you activate a Sky Striker spell, you can reset that, or you can reset a Widow Anchor that you may have dumped off of Hayate. So like I said, very big rain. That's sometimes where you want to dump Widow Anchor to the graveyard, because then you can proc off multi-roll. So that's very good. Alright? So the next one I want to talk about is Zeke. So this is the link to, you don't make this with just one Sky Striker, but you can make this with an opponent's monster that you steal. Or just another normal summon, or any other monster that you happen to control at the time. So this takes 2 monsters, including a Sky Striker Ace. This one must be link summoned, okay? You can only special summon Zeke once per turn. If this is link summon, you can target one face up on the field, banish it until your opponent's next end phase. This is very good to get rid of your opponent's crap and store them out. And then this will allow you to banish it for a long enough time to restock up your resources. So that's a very, very good effect. Second effect is you can target one other card you control, send it to the grave, and this gains 1,000 attack. Now, this is very relevant and spurred up, the second effect, because this can allow you to swing over some Morgue, which can't be targeted. So that's actually comes up relevant if we're able to force out an Avian effect or deal with a barrier statue. We're able to swing over some Morgue, so that becomes very, very relevant very quickly. So you definitely want to play this. I like this at 2. Okay? So, it's good. You could play it at 1 and play Ningirsu as well. So that's absolutely an option up for you if you're not running like Pot of Prosperity or something like that. Next, we're going to go over the hand traps and the text in the deck. Okay? Well, actually, no. We'll go over the other thing first that I need to really get into depth with, is the Hockley Fibrax plays. Now, Hockley Fibrax, and especially Axis Code Talker is your main goal. Okay? That's going to win you the games most of the time. That's how we're going to go for lethal. So your main play with Axis Code is that you want to have 3 spells in the grave, because Celine's going to gain 1 counter for each spell in the grave. So let's talk about it first. Let's go over Hockley. Now, I know a lot of you know what this card does, but Hockley Fibrax takes 2 monsters, at least the tuner, and it's a link 2. So, we have 2 Veilers and 3 Ash to make this happen. So what you're going to do is you're going to normal summon any of your tuners beside any of your Sky Strikers. Then you're going to link off, could be a link monster as well, but you also have to make sure that you're linking with a monster in the extra zone, because you can't link Hockley and put it in the main zone. That's not going to happen. So you're going to link them off, and you're going to make your Hockley Fibrax. Hockley Fibrax, you're going to use its effect to summon out a Veiler. So once Veiler is on the field, you're going to link it off, Hockley Fibrax and Veiler, to make Celine. Now what Celine does is it gains counters equal to the amount of spells in your graveyard, in both players' graves. So once you have 3 spells, you give it 3 counters. Then we can remove 3 counters off Celine to special summon back a spellcaster from the graveyard. So we're going to special summon Effect Veiler that we used to bring out Celine from the graveyard. Then with a link 3 and a level 1, a link 3 and a 1, we're going to make Axis Code Talker. Now since Axis Code Talker comes out, we banish Celine, and then Axis Code Talker goes up to 5,300 attack, and then we can banish as many links as we want to pop that many cards in our opponent's field that we need to, and then we can swing for massive damage. Okay? Also, we are able to make Axis Code in another way, potentially stealing our opponent's things. We can get 4 monsters on the field. If you have a link out or a ray, you steal their monster, right? So one of the plays that we use to get Axis Code, right, is what you need to do is you need to have Toggle On. And with 3 or more spells in the grave, you're going to activate Widow Anchor with Toggle On, steal their monster. Then, with Toggle On, while you have no monsters in the main monster zone, chain Hornet Drones. That will get you 3 monsters on the field. And then if you have a way with, like, multi-roll to send an airspace, then we can get 4 monsters on the field. Keep in mind, if you have airspace that you multi-roll back, you will not get its effect. So if you activate the airspace from the grave, of a multi-roll, it will not proc because it'll get banished. But if we have a multi-roll that hasn't been in airspace that hasn't been multi-rolled back, then we can send it off, summon a Sky Striker Ace, and there you have 4 for access code that way. So that's just another way you can get access code out the field, by taking their monsters as well. So keep that in mind. Alright? Also, Shark Cannon, remember I said reviving their monsters can also make access code. So you can use this to revive your opponent's links and make for an easier access code if they have like a link 2 or higher. Like a deck like AI might play Splash Mage, will play Smash Mage, or any Cyber deck, so that's already a link 2. So then you can make like Splash Mage plus Zeke into access code. There's a lot of ways to get access code on the field in this deck. Alright, and the last link we have, is Nightmare Phoenix. So Nightmare Phoenix is link 2. Just summon it, discard a card, pop a spell or trap. Also comes as a link 2, and it can help you make access code as well with stealing their crap. But it's out to Imperial Order. That's what you need to know. Is your Imperial Order out, and it's an out to not only Imperial Order, but Macrocosmos. So keep that in mind. Alright, now for the standard cards in the deck outside of your Sky Strikers we're playing, our hand traps are 3 Crow. This is very good against Drytron. It's also very good against Eldritch because you can banish their traps, and you can banish the Golden Lord. And you can also banish like Elixir and Sanguine. So 3 DD Crow to beat Eldritch and Drytron. It's this. The only thing is this card's not very good against Tri-Brigade. That's the only thing. Effect Veiler to negate crap. This is very good. 3 Max C, because Max C is such a house. Obviously, Veiler is good against Drytron to negate Invaded Fafnir. Also, this is very good against Tri-Brigade, because when they vanish as a cost, we can punish them for it, and then negate their effects. And this is also very good. Again, it's not very good against Eldritch, but it's good against those 2 decks specifically. Max C, this is very good against a lot of decks. This is very good against pretty much everything. When your opponent would special summon, then we just draw, and that's a 3 of, obviously. 3 Ash Blossom, because it stops searching, and it's pretty much good against every deck in the meta. Even Tri-Brigade, which you would think, because they can special summon from the graveyard, but this could stop effects like Tenki in the deck, and this could also stop effects like their main searcher in Tri-Brigades as well. That allows them to search. So if they go Fractal to dump Kit to get another mill to get the search off, then we do not let that happen. And this could also negate Fractal as well, because it sends a card from the deck to the grave, so we can ash that off as well. Next, we're running Harpy's Feather Duster, obvious backward removal clear against things like Eldritch. 3 Upstart Goblin, increases the consistency, gets another spell in the grave. 1 Reinforcement of the army to search your Ray and your Rosé. 1 Pot of Avarice to recycle Kigari and your hand traps, which is very useful. 1 Lightning Storm, because we have to go second all the time. Lightning Storm becomes live really quick. And we can pop back row in back row decks. And I did run into quite a few of them, so I decided to tech this in. 2 Twin Twister, again against back row decks. And it can also destroy our Area 0, proccing its effect to summon a Ray, so it's another play starter if we need it to be. There were times where I thought about running MST over this. To be brutally honest, it has come up to where I run MST over this. So with that, we don't go minus if I need to make an Airspeed 0 play. Infinite Impermanence, because it's the best card. I think one of the best cards in the game, if not the best card. Imperm is such a good card because you're able to not only take advantage of this, but this is out to potential floodgates. If you go up against Eldritch and they activate Skill Drain in a zone where they summon an Eldritch monster, well, not even where they summon an Eldritch monster, but if they summon any Eldritch on the field, then we can potentially turn off floodgates for a turn, giving us a way to win the duel. So if they run Skill Drain, right? So let's say they have a Skill Drain, right? And they summon Eldritch the Golden Lord, we set this in the skill drain column, we wait for it to come out, then we negate Eldritch, and then we are able to turn off their skill drain for a turn and make our plays. So, yeah, this is a must-have deck for the 3 of, I would say almost the 3 of in any deck you play, because I think it's that good. Okay, so that's the deck list. What I'm going to do now is I am going to show off a few replays. There's not really much to talk about in combo usage in this deck, so I don't feel like I have to go over combos, but I do want to go over some of the replays that I did save. Okay. Alright, so this is Tri Brigade. So he goes Fractal, dumps Kit to dump Nerval to get the search off. So again, Crow's not that useful here. So he's gonna go Caress special, activate Caress to bring out Hervasarag, the Deep, and then link that off into Appaloosa. And then goes into Third Blade, into Shuckanine, into Borbo, into Tiger Mortar, doing his thing, and ending on the Zodiac Trident. Activating the Whiptail to give it another material, which will set up his Zeus. Alright, so now we're going to go Prosperity. We're going to send 3. I didn't play this. This was a build when we ran Prosperity. I was running Prosperity before we ran Upstart. That's another potential tech you can run. It is acceptable. So for some reason he decides to Trident pop Area 0 for whatever reason. So then we proc Area 0 because he doesn't read it all. We summon Ray. Then we trigger Rose. He negates, so this baits out an Appaloosa negate. Then he chains off Revolt. So as you can see, as the Guardian here, he's able to end on Trident, Revolt, and Appaloosa. So this will summon proc all of his effects. And then he can link off into Shriek, threatening the Banisher Array. So he will go ahead and banish, trigger the Kit. Now, if we didn't have a way to play through it, we would have Twin Twisted off his Revolt. But we didn't need to. Alright, so he adds back the Fractal to banish our Ray. Kit dumping. So there's Ray. So we're going to go ahead and normal summon it. Then we're going to swing over Appaloosa first. Make sure you do that. Trigger Ray to summon out Hayate, and then we can direct attack. Remember, we can quick effect during the battle phase. Dump and engage here. It's the case where I do want to dump the engage. So we're going to go into Kagari. Kagari will add back the engage. The reason why is because I want to get more spells in the grave. I already have 2 spells, so I want to maximize it out so I can steal this turn. That's why I went for engage. Now we can link off his Trident into Zeke. And Zeke can banish the Shriek here. And just like that, we cleared his field. And then we can link off into Shizuku and get a search in the end phase and set our Twin Twister. We can't search engage because we already have him in the grave, so we're just going to search multi-roll. Which can allow us to get back our engage later. So he top decks the Cosmic, gets rid of our Twin Twister. Normal summons the Fractal. He'll go ahead and banish 4 to be able to bring out the Shriek again. We're going to chain our Max C. So that way we can take a draw for this. Now another play that we could have did, and that I didn't realize last duel, is that we should have chained Max C. Oh, actually, no, we couldn't. Never mind. We didn't want to Max C chain there on our last duel to Revolt because we played Pot of Prosperity, so you can't activate, you can't draw any more cards in that same turn. So we just summon out back our Ray off of the Shriek Vanish, and then we just summon out Kane just to reduce some of the damage. Okay, so we're going to activate Multi-Roll, then we're going to go Avarice. I think in this build I was running multiple Avarice as well. So we're going to put back all 5, and then we're going to Pot of Avarice, draw. Yeah, this was the build I was running 3 Avarice in. Alright, so we're going to go into Kagari. Kagari will add back our Engage. And we start to plus here. You can choose to run multiple Avarice if you want to. That's another way to play this deck, and we were having some success with it. But I still think the way we're playing it now is better. We're going to go into Zeke. And then Zeke will banish his Shriek again. And then he will add a Tri-Brigade. So he adds Kit. And we can banish Set. And then we're going to send our Duster to increase to increase Zeke up by 1,000. So that way we can swing over Fractale, go into Hayate for some random reason I did not mean to. Oh, no. We went into Hayate to set up Avarice. Okay. So we're going to Hayate to set up Avarice. And then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw 2 more. Gonna set Imperm. And then Multi-Roll will trigger to set Widow Anchor. Engage. And since we have more than 3 spells in the grave, we'll get to steal them. And then we can search another Engage. And we're in a great spot. Tenki, that's fine. We'll let him search the Fractale. You know him in the Fractale. Now make sure that you let them banish for cost. After he banishes for cost, we chain Widow Anchor. And then we get to steal him. And he scoops. GG. With all that in hand, we easily handle Tri-Brigade. So very nice. I want to try to get some recent replays with the latest deck list, so just give me like 1 second. Okay, so I got some recent platinum replays. I wanted to get us some recent replays with that list specifically. Okay, I think this one was the rank up. Now, this one gets silly because this is Ray Beatdown. So, this is the rank up. This gets a bit silly, so just stay with me on this one here. How we win this. Alright, he activates now. Duel Links player coming over here. Dangers can activate multiple times, so it doesn't really pay to Ash them. So we Ash Jackalope. There I misplay, but it's fine. Discards, he can draw. Then he summons Unizombie. Now we Imperm this because I do not want him getting Boulder Rock in the graveyard. As I found later on, Ash wasn't really going to do us anything for this duel anyway, so it didn't really matter in the long run. So he's going to link off into Hockley Fibrax. Activates Hockley Fibrax, which will allow him to summon out a Glow Bloom. Link that off into a Link Karibo. Glow Bloom will get him a search of Jacko. Then he'll reveal Jacko. Special summon Jacko Bolin. And then in his turn, he dumped the Boulder Rock there, so he already had it damned. So we go Afterburn. We're going to force out the Jacko Bolin to summon the Boulder Rock. And then we're going to negate Widow Anchor because we have no monsters in our main monster zone. So chain resolves, we negate. Now he goes Hockley Fibrax, he tributes over Formula Synchron. He will draw a card. We summon Ray. He goes Rivalry of the Warlords, and this is where it gets incredibly dumb. So now, because of Rivalry, all of our links are machines, so we can't make them. So we go into essentially Ray beatdown mode. We try to Goblin, he ashes. I'm going to speed up these replays to try to show you, that way I can show you the most. I can show you as many replays as I feel like I can show you, not keeping this video too long. So there's nothing really to see here, it's just Ray swinging. This one's going to be sped up because all we're doing is literally Ray swinging, just throwing the hand traps. Setting another Widow Anchor and Haunted Drugs, just setting spells that we really can't use. So the one thing we need to pay attention to is we do Crow as Boulder Rock here. Other than that, we're just beating him down with Ray. He sets what will be an Ash that we swing into. Then at this point, we're just stalling him out. He goes into Solitaire. We chain the Max C. He gets to be able to special summon from the deck. He can now send Boulder Rock, and he scoops. Because we probably would have had a win con there with Widow Anchor had we held it out. But that was just an option for us. Okay. So here's another replay. These are all in Platinum 2. So this is the most competitive. Plat 2, Plat 3 range. Okay, so here we open up Broken, so pay attention. So it's our turn. He just passes. We go multi-roll. Airspace. Remember what I said before? We activate multi-roll to send off the airspace to summon the Rag. Alright, so he chains Max C. Now, let me teach you another thing that I didn't discuss when I went over the deck tutorial. If you summon Ray, and they chain Max C to your Ray, you can chain Ray and go into Shizuku and just pass. That way, because you activate Ray on Chainlink 2, Ray being activated on normal summon is Chainlink 2, his Max C is Chainlink 1, so when your special summon goes through, he will not draw off Max C, because Max C is yet to resolve. So that's the best way. Then they get nothing off their Max C. So if they do that, just as a note. Alright, so he draws a card, we swing with Ray. We're going to give him 2 draws here, but he's going to take 3,000 for it. So we're going to go and minimize the resources he gains, just go right into Shizuku and swing for 3k. We're going to search a Widow Anchor. Also, another note is, if they have no cards committed to their field, it's a high telling tale that they might have an Ash and a Max C combined, so that's something you want to pay attention to when you think about making your plays and what you want to commit to. So, if you think they really have an Ash, be careful with activating Engage before you multi-roll first. Just as a note. Especially if you have, like, no follow-up. Alright, he summons Dogmatica Ecclesia. So we're going to need Ecclesia, and then with Widow Anchor, we do not have 3 spells in the grave, so we do not steal, but it will negate Ecclesia's effect to search another Dogmatica. Activates Invocation, and scoops, because he didn't have the resources. Even if he didn't, we still had a float, we could have negated Window with Imperm. We had options here. And we could have grinded it out, and we were planning to reset the Widow Anchor to deal with Window anyway. So, we had plays there. That's more to showcase off the combos. Alright, I'm going to show you off 1 to 2 more replays here. Alright, so again, okay, this one was against Virtual World. Watch this. We beat a full VFD field. This is a good one. This is against Godhand Virtual World. We play through Very Fun Dragon. Alright, so summons the Lily, dumps the Chuche, off the Lulu, searching the Kowloon. We'll Synchro Summon into Charge Warrior to get a draw. Activates Charge Warrior, gets the draw. Activates then Lao Lao to target the Lily. Summoning the Lao Lao. Activating the Lao Lao to summon the Lulu. Resummoning back the Nian Nian. We'll Synchro off the Charge Warrior and that to go into Shenshin, not Revenant's Cock Dragon. Now makes the Croc Dragon. We'll allow him to draw another card. Now he can Exceed Summon and bring out True King of All Calamities, the Very Fun Dragon. We'll set a background that he passes. Now we go off. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to Twin Twist to the back row to destroy the Chuche. we need to force out the Chuche here. So we have to get rid of that in case it is a Chuche. So it was a call by the grave, still good. We Ray pass because this forces out his calamities. That's very important. You want to force that out. Uses the trap to summon the Shen Shen. We target. He has Ghost Spell too because he's that good to open up Call Bell and Ghost Spell. That's what I'm saying. This guy had the absolute Guardian. So Ghost Spells are DD Crow. He will go ahead and resummon the Shen Shen here. In defense. Discarding Kowloon, triggering out his Quilong to search out another Nian Nian, discarding a copy of Droll and Lockbird. He had that too. He targets Very Fun Dragon, but we're going to Chain Ray here, just to get extra monsters in the graveyard for Pot of Avarice, even though our effect on field or in grave will not resolve at this point. He's going to summon the Nian Nian, and then he's going to synchro off into Vermilion Mech, activating the Vermilion Mech to pop, and then goes for 5,700 damage. We're not dead, and now we're going to make a comeback. Get ready. So we played right through Very Fun Dragon. That's something you need to know for meta relevancy. He has another Ash because, like I said, guys, he's this good. Called by, Ghost Spell, Ash, and just has everything. And full combo, by the way. We go into Hayate. Hayate will swing. Hayate is also good to get the extra monsters you need in the graveyard for Avarice. Main phase 2, we're going to link up the Hayate to go into Kagari. Kagari will allow us to add back the Engage. Comeback time. We're going to engage for a Widow Anchor. Take the extra draw because we have 3 in the grave. We're going to link off into Shizuku. Now, this was a misplay that I made. I shouldn't have linked off because we're actually going to steal his monster. So at this, unless we needed the 5th monster there. Actually, yeah. What I meant to do is I wanted to steal him first. So in that situation, steal him before going into Shizuku. So we misplayed and denied ourselves a search there. So steal before you go into Shizuku. But I was getting tired. This was like 10 hours into the stream. Forgive me. I was like dozing here. So now we can summon back Ray on the field. And then we can resummon out. But even through the misplay, we're still going. He attacked into our Ray, make misplay on him. We'll trigger the Shizuku. The one other misplay I make here is I activate the Imperm column, which you'll see. But he had an Imperm and didn't chain to negate Shizuku, so, you know, that's on him to misplay there. But other than that, we're playing very good to be able to come back from this. Gonna add back Ray, and then we're gonna get the extra draw off Engage, activate the Sky Zone, going to activate Hornet Drones to special summon. Summon the Ray, activate. We're going to reveal 1, 2, and 3. Nothing there. We're going to link 2 into Zeke to banish off his Shen Shen, and now we're going to start poking for damage. We're going to swing for 3k here. Now we're going to activate Zeke to send off our field spell, and we're going to activate our field spell to summon Rosé, and then we're going to make Access Code Talker to put him in top deck range. I didn't really want to pop the Shen Shen. I wanted to banish it, so I wanted to do it this way rather than the other way. Now we crow back off the Lulu top deck, we crow his Nian Nian, so he'll get a resource back in the deck, but we're not going to allow him to special summon, so he's dead. He'll bring back this, the Shen Shen. Now we get poppin'. Banish, pop, banish, pop. I think you guys know how this is going to go. Now we BM, and we steal his Shen Shen off the Shark Cannon. Since we have 3 or more spells in the grave, we can do them. And then we normal summon Max C because we're just that this good this game. So we'll get the Max C and access code for game. So we played through full VFD board plus 4 hand traps. So very, very good. Very, very, very good. Seeing the true power of Sky Striker. So one more. We got one more replay for you here. I think, again, this was another strange matchup that we had here. Okay, so we open up all double Imperm, Veil or Crow. He goes Shadow Fusion. This is against Invoke Shadow Dogmatic again. Brings out the Winda. Activating the Hedgehog to add the Wendy. Setting and passing. Alright, we're going to imperm here. I should have activated. This is another kind of a misplay here, but I should have, in theory, activated Engage first. To see if he had Ash and then impermed. I think we do end up getting lucky here if I'm correct. And air spacing something off. Yeah, we do get the Hornet drones. So, the correct play there, just as a record, the correct play there, these were all very late in the stream, so there were small misplays going on here. The correct play there is you want to airspace first. That way you can see if they have a delay in hand, if they have an Ash Blossom, and then you could decide whether or not you want to imperm there based upon what we send. Or you could activate Engage and then bait out the imperm, but he did have the Ash. So airspace there to test out the delay and maybe the bait out Ash. So we're going to swing with Hayate. We're still going to be able to dump a Ray, crazy enough. Still make our plays. Go off into Kagari. Activate Kagari, add back the Engage. Now the reason why we're doing this is because that way I get as many spells in the graveyard as possible here. Because I want to set up for my following turn to steal Winda. Also, if a monster is negated, so like if you negate something with Imperm, you can't steal it that same turn. So if they negate Winda, you can't steal with Widow Anchor because it's already negated. You can't negate something that's already been negated. So like you can't steal a skill drain monster either. I don't believe as well. So that's something else you need to pay attention to, like an Eldritch match or something like that. So he's going to bring out Dogmatica. We're going to negate Windy with Veil. So he does that. We're not really threatened here. He can boost himself up. That's fine. We're going to go ahead and trigger Ray. Special summon. He attacks. He swings for 15. And now we have multi-roll follow-up. And we can steal him. So we're going to go multi-roll. Activate multi-roll to send off the air space, as I said before. Now we can't respond to any of our spells. We're going to attack. We're going to crash. Because we need to play around Winda. So now we're going to steal, negate, link off, into Zeke. Activate Zeke, banish. He's going to trigger Winda to try to target Shadow Fusion. We're going to say no because we have a DD Crow. That's also very good in the Invoke Dogmatica matchup as well. DD Crow is very valuable in this matchup. Especially when they open up their best spell to mill out a clone to get Shadow Fusion in their hand. Now we activate multi-roll, we set the Widow Anchor, and then we trigger Shizuku in the end phase to add a copy of Hornet Face to be able to recycle the Kagari. So now he goes, activates Desires, top decks it, banishes 10, draws 2, reveals off his Dogmatica Ecclesia, swings into our Shizuku, but we're going to summon out another Shizuku because we can reduce Ecclesia's attack minus 300 because we have 3 spells in the grave. Trigger Shizuku to add Widow Anchor. And now we can win the duel because we can win off Hercules base. We're going to set Hercules base, send it to her grave. Remember what I talked about? Being able to recycle Kagari. We're going to recycle Shizuku, Zike, and Kagari. Now we're going to link off the Shizuku to summon Kagari, add back the Engage. Then we're going to activate Engage to be able to search a Sky Striker card, Afterburn, and then with 3 spells in the grave, draw another card, activate Widow Anchor. Then we're going to chain our Widow Anchor with Toggle and on and Shelf Chain on to make sure we chain in the same chain. And then steal both of his Dogmaticas, activate Rhoda, search the copy of Rosé, normal summon, and just swing for game. No! So this deck may not seem like you can put big damage on the field, but you can. You have to take Widow Anchor into account when doing that. Alright. Those are the replays I wanted to show off. One of the things I want to talk about is the mirror match. In the mirror match, what you want to do is you want to shark drones their array. That's where shark drones and crow are also good in the mirror match, because you want to get rid of their array. Another thing is you want to twin twisters off their multi-roll before they have an opportunity to activate afterburns. So the minute they send off a multi-roll, or unless they have area 0. They have area 0 and they go multi-roll into area 0, because they're going to activate multi-roll first, so that way they get the advantage. And then go area 0, then you twin twister off the multi-roll, and then if you have an area 0 yourself, you can pop your own, or you can just try to pop another back row. Another thing that's very important in the mirrors, you don't want to max C initially. You want to wait till like turn 2, when they have like a Shizuku on the field, and they're forced to make plays, especially when you're ahead. When you're ahead, max C becomes that much more valuable. Another thing in the mirror, too, is Veiler is really good on Shizuku, but activate it in main phase 2 because you can't Veil in the end phase. So if they go Shizuku in main phase 2, Veil them then. Okay? Or hit a Kakari. Ash on Engage is very good as well. So those are things you want to know about the mirror match. Okay? Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube. Please, please, please. We're almost halfway to partner. Also, follow me on Twitch, where we are partnered there. Make sure you follow me there. Come enjoy my streams. We do, I'm planning to do tournament runs very soon. Get involved with tournaments, which we may take Sky Striker into. We may take Virtual World into. If you want to learn along with me, and you want to also ask questions on how to play these decks, the meta, please follow me on Twitch. You can see me stream it live. I am live. Well, I'm going on vacation for a week, but so my liveliness may be sporadic, so you're going to want to be on Discord. That's why you want to get my Twitch, because on my Twitch has the Discord as well. That's another reason why. But please, 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 follow me on Twitch. You can see me play this live. Generally, other than that, I'm live almost every day, 7 a.m. Eastern. I stream both Duel Links and I stream Master Duel. So please, 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 give me the follow over there. That'd be much appreciated. And tell me that you came up from YouTube. Say hi in the chat if you want to. I am very nice. I am not mean. I do not bite. If you want to say hi in the chat, you want to talk, I am more than happy to talk to you and get to know you and get to learn about what you like and your interests and any questions that you may have. Until next time, this is Sean Matrai, aka Tilted Matrai, signing out. Peace.